The American Dream.
The American Dream.
The American Dream.
The American Dream.
What actually is the American Dream?
The idea of the American Dream is really elusive. It was an older concept.
There has never been a better time to start living the American Dream.
The American Dream as we know it is dead.
Imagine having to work not one but two jobs, stretching yourself to exhaustion and still feeling far from achieving the so-called American Dream. For millennials and Gen Z, the pathway to that ideal, a stable job, a family, a home, is becoming increasingly elusive. Why is this? And is there hope for reviving or redefining it? In this video, we'll explore the origins of the American Dream, why it is slowly becoming impossible to achieve, and offer realistic solutions to bring back the American Dream. What is the American Dream and where did it originate from? The American Dream, as defined by the Oxford Dictionary, is the ideal by which equality of opportunity is available to any American, allowing the highest aspirations and goals to be achieved. It is also simply the idea that anyone, regardless of where they were born or their socioeconomic status, can attain success in a society. It was coined by James Truslow Adams in 1931 during the Great Depression in a book titled Epic of America. He described the term as that dream of a land in which life should be better, richer, and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. The tenets of the American Dream originated from the Declaration of Independence, which states that all men are created equal and which proclaimed the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In simpler terms, the American Dream once meant a stable job and income, a nice home, and a better life for your family. However, today, owning a home and securing financial stability are no longer guarantees. They've become challenges. So what is causing the American Dream to slip away from younger generations? Housing, once considered a foundational part of the American Dream, has spiraled beyond reach. Since the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776, the cost of living in America had gone up about 15-fold.
More than half of Americans say they would need at least $100,000 a year to be financially comfortable.
In the 1800s, an average home was $23,400, but today it is over $270,000 depending on the location and size. A dollar then is equivalent to $22 to $28.30 today. Since 2010, the average home price has increased by 50%. This is making it impossible for many millennials and Gen Z to afford a home. Because of this, many millennials and Gen Z have resorted to living in tents or cars despite having a steady income, sharing accommodation with multiple roommates, living in trailers or mobile homes, and worst-case scenario, homelessness. It is sad that even with a decent-paying job, owning a home seems impossible. According to the National Coalition for the Homeless, nationally, the cost of rental housing greatly exceeds wages earned by low-income renter households. A typical full-time worker needs to earn an average of $25.82 per hour to afford a modest two-bedroom rental. However, the national minimum wage is only $7.25. The unaffordability crisis is slowly reshaping neighborhoods and pushing low- and middle-income families out. The student debt crisis is perhaps the heaviest anchor pulling millennials and Gen Z from financial freedom. According to the Federal Reserve, student debt in the U.S. totals $1.7 trillion.
There was a growing debate in the 2020 presidential campaign over student loan forgiveness, proposals to relieve graduates from thousands of dollars in debt. 43 million borrowers in this country owe about $1.5 trillion in federal student loan debt.
In the first half of 2024, federal student loan debt increased $17.9 billion, with the average debt per borrower being over $31,000. The weight of this debt prevents lots of students from starting businesses, buying a home, or investing in real estate, achieving financial stability, or getting married and starting families, as they have to invest every penny they make from their jobs into settling their student loan.
Gen Z adults are deciding not to have kids, and it appears one of the main reasons is money.
Tragically, some individuals succumb to illness or other circumstances before they can fully repay their student loans. What makes it more ridiculous is the fact most students don't end up practicing what they learned in school. For example, a computer engineering student can end up becoming a barista because he has no means of starting up a business of his own. Not only does the student debt crisis affect those wanting to establish a business of their own, it also causes many to struggle to find stable employment in their fields. Despite the desire to work in their fields, graduates often experience a lack of entry-level positions or meet with the years of experience requirements. This would eventually push these graduates into jobs like retail clerks or other low-earning positions despite their degrees. Also, most graduates are faced with the need to make income immediately to settle their debts so they don't accept positions that align with their studies. These kinds of jobs cause them to be unable to pursue the professional development that would help them grow in their field. Next, wages have remained stagnant since the 1970s while the cost of living continues to increase, meaning that younger generations are working harder but earning less. Productivity has increased by 74% since 1973, but wages have only risen by 12%. While the economy in the US has grown, wages for most workers do not tally with inflation and productivity. With wages failing to match the rising costs of housing, healthcare, and education, many millennials and Gen Zs find themselves in financial troubles despite having a full-time job. The widening gap between income and expenses means only a few people can save to buy or rent a home or start a family. Another reason why the American dream is slowly fading away for the millennials and Gen Z is inflation. Inflation simply means an increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over some time.
It wasn't something that just economists were tracking. It was something that was really felt on the household level. People felt it in their grocery bills. People felt it at the gas pump.
Inflation is the hidden thief that quietly reduces purchasing power. How does inflation work? It's simple. Using real-life examples, imagine being able to buy a crate of eggs, 4 ham sandwiches, and 5 burgers for $50 last year. But this year, due to inflation, you can only afford half a crate of eggs and 2 ham sandwiches with the same $50. The concept of inflation leads us back to stagnant wages. Imagine having to work 8 hours a day and earn $7 per hour, making your total earning about $56 per day in 1970. Meanwhile, $56 in 1970 is worth about $453.55 today, meaning even if you earn $453.55 daily now, your purchasing power is still less than what $56 could buy in 1970. Inflation is making it harder for millennials and Gen Zs to achieve financial freedom. According to statistics from the Bureau of Labor, U.S. inflation has risen to 3.5% since 2020. Also, economic downturns like the COVID-19 outbreak in 2020 and the Great Recession of 2008 have affected the younger generations, rewarding them with unstable job markets and job losses. This lack of stability makes it difficult to make long-term financial plans, putting the American dream further out of reach. Next, minimum wage increment is one of the issues vaguely looked into. While some states have raised their minimum wage, federal efforts to increase it from the current $7.25 an hour have been repeatedly delayed. This has affected many young workers earning wages that do not match the cost of living. These delays hinder economic mobility and increase income inequality, making it difficult for millennials and Gen Zs to reach the top of the social and economic ladder. One of the reasons the American dream is becoming a thing of the past is due to legislative barriers. Policies that could help reduce the pressing issues faced by the younger generations, such as student debt and stagnant wages, are not often looked into.
Gen Z buyers are purchasing at the lowest household incomes of all home buyers out there.
The student loan debt relief topic has become a pressing issue with various proposals for student loan forgiveness. Some initiatives like the limited forgiveness programs and payment plans tied to income have been carried out, but they still aren't enough to clear or address the over $1.7 trillion student loan crisis. Competition interests among legislators made standard reforms difficult, leaving many young adults with debt burdens that delay major life milestones and financial independence.
Worked hard to get into a good college. I didn't fail out of college. I didn't party my way out of college. I just went there, got an education, made friends, made connections, did everything that they tell you to do by the book. But then it just cost me so much money.
One of the major problems millennials and Gen Zs face when it comes to achieving the American dream is the burden of healthcare costs. For many millennials, healthcare feels more like a luxury than a basic need due to how expensive it is. Because of this, many millennials and Gen Zs are forced to skip monthly or daily checkups and delay prescriptions because they can't afford it, prioritizing basic survival over health. This decision, however, can affect them in the long run, and by the time they decide to get treated, the prices would have piled up and become more expensive, causing them to spend more. The American dream has always been about hard work, opportunity, stability, and the chance to create a better life. However, with today's challenges, is it possible to make the dream more accessible for Gen Zs and millennials? Firstly, to bring back the dream of homeownership, reforms that promote affordable housing projects should be enacted. Try to imagine a world with more affordable homes and zoning laws that allow for smarter, denser communities. This can make the dream of owning a home a more realistic reality. Next on the list is student debt relief. since debt is holding young adults from achieving their dreams or moving forward in their career and life. Hence, solutions like tuition-free community colleges and debt forgiveness programs would make a huge difference. By lifting the burden of debt, millennials and Gen Zs can begin building their future sooner. Also, implementing a living wage that keeps up with the cost of living is very important. This means legislative efforts to increase the minimum wage, promote payment transparency, and expand benefits so workers are correctly rewarded for their productivity. Next, the increasing medical costs should be looked into by creating options that could protect people from bills that can derail life plans. Also, young adults should be taught how to budget, manage debts, and invest. They should also be equipped with the right tools to make smart money decisions. While young adults face significant challenges in achieving the traditional American dream, they are slowly reshaping the American dream to fit a more modern reality. While the traditional American dream means a well-paying 9-to-5 job and a family, the modern version is far from that. For many millennials and Gen Zs, flexibility and work-life balance are the new markers of success. Young adults now focus on jobs that allow them to prioritize family, health, personal interests, hobbies, and happiness. Millennials and Gen Z now create opportunities for themselves. Many startups and side hustles have now become popular among these young adults. Most young adults have now taken to working from home and earning quite a substantial amount of money without having to leave their comfort zone. It is not only about making money, it is about doing what makes you happy as well. Recently, millennials and Gen Zs have focused on building careers doing things they love and that align with their values, causing success to be redefined not only by the amount you make, but by the positive change you're making in the world. When it comes to living conditions, millennials and Gen Z have been getting creative as they come up with tiny homes, co-living spaces, and even the van life lifestyle. They are beginning to redefine the concept of shelter, proving that it is not where you live, but how you live that matters. Also, millennials and Gen Zs are now spending their money on things that make them happy, like concerts, vacations, travel, and family, rather than getting fancy houses and cars. So while the traditional American dream might be fading, young adults are creating a new and modern one just as powerful. This means the American dream might not be dead, but has evolved into something more futuristic. We may not all get the standard American dream with the white picket fence, 2 kids, a partner, and a 9-to-5, we are definitely getting something closer or even better as we worry less about the 9-to-5 grind and more about a life that we love and enjoy. And if that is not the American dream, maybe it is the next better thing. The question now is, what will your American dream look like? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.